Nancy Sullivan wanted me to come down and talk to Kevin at the Great American Bash '96 because I was going down just to visit with Mysterio because that was his debut down there. And I go up, I talk to Nancy. Well, she brings me up, talks to Kevin. I talk to Kevin. I'll bring in. I'm gonna pair you with Teddy Long. And at the time, I went, ugh, well, how that's gonna work, And that was it. And he goes, "You're gonna tell Paul?" I said, "Well," I said, "Yeah, I'll tell him." He goes, "Okay, you tell Paulie and everything else." I said, "Okay." Well, I'm assuming that Kevin called Paul within like 3 minutes of me walking out the door, and
yeah.
we get to the show, and Paul goes, "Oh, Shane wants to talk to you," and I think, "Oh God, I'm in trouble." I can just feel the heat, right? And Shane walks in. You made a beeline right to me. You go, "Come here, I want to talk to you." I'm going, "Uh-oh, this is not good." and then you said to me, he goes, "Do you really think they're going to know what to do with you? Are you going there just to go there, or are you going there because you want to go there?" I'm going, "Well, la la." And then we just talked for like 20 minutes, and then I said, "Paul, I would like to stay, if at all possible." with the eyes closed. "You're always welcome here." And then I said, "I guess I'll call Kevin." He goes, "I'll call Kevin." Well, I don't think you ever called Kevin.
Is that right?
I don't think so, because when I saw him a couple years later, he's like, "You fucked me." A great night with Kevin. That's great.
Well,
you talked about going to 96.
That sounds like the kind of advice I would have given because, having been there and, your character was a unique kind of character and had to be portrayed in a certain way. You couldn't just come in there and say, "Okay, here's Mikey Whipwreck working his way up the ladder and, he's getting up there." I mean, my personal opinion, that wouldn't have worked. You were in a very finite spot in the way that ECW had built you. And the one thing about WCW, and it wasn't anything against Kevin or anybody else, it was a machine. So they go to the production meeting, and somebody's name comes, Mikey Whipwreck. Okay, well, let's just put him in against so-and-so and see what happens, or what. It was too much haphazardness to it. And I knew that you're a white meat baby face like that, as I had been years before there, is very easy to get lost in the fray because, well, he sells great, so let's feed him to, Vader or whatever monster of the day is there. And once you do that well, then they say, well, he's pretty good at putting somebody over, and, you get sort of pushed down in that vein over there. And ECW, the one thing that because, the best of ECW was also the worst of ECW in this sense. That because we didn't have a multi-billion-dollar corporation behind us, a Panda Energy or a Time Warner or a Titan Sports, we had to make everybody on the show a star. We already had a thin bench as it was. So we couldn't say, well, let's go out there and fuck with Mikey Whipwreck or Chris Chetty or Joe Blow or whoever. We had to make everybody count and make everybody matter as best we could. And at WCW, that's an afterthought. That doesn't even come into play. To them, if they come in and they set you up in all the wrong ways and you don't get over, they'll say, well, the kid didn't get over. It's his fault. And, I was certain of that in looking at nothing against you or anybody else, just how that machine was run. And, the subsequent end story to that is that they sold the entire thing lock, stock, and barrel. Tens of thousands of hours of incredible wrestling library, all those television contracts, all of the things that they had. They sold all of it for $4.8 million. If Jamie Kellner's out there listening any place somewhere tonight, then you ought to go look yourself in the mirror, turn on the bathroom light, pull out your razor blade, and pick up and slice both wrists, and then sit down in the hot bathtub, because that was the dumbest business move that I've ever heard of in this business. But it was so typical of WCW in those days. And not just Mikey Whipwreck. Mikey Whipwreck, Shane Douglas, fill in the blank of how many beyond that just got sort of lost in the shuffle someplace as they kept trying to play off Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair. Nothing against those guys, but by that time, by the approach of the year 2000, it was time clearly to move on to something else, and they still were stuck in 1984.
This is true. True words from the franchise
You know,
right there, everybody.